Hey everyone, welcome to SheaRants for Horror and Supreme. Today I'm talking about H.P. Lovecraft's, little Herbert West story. I don't know what the original thing was called. I'm not sure if it was called Reanimator, but this is Reanimator, and it's a cult classic horror comedy, and it's a lot of fun. The film follows the grotesque and increasingly insane experiment of Dr. Herbert West, a medical student who discovers a serum capable of reanimating dead tissue, and it leads to some interesting consequences. So let's get into it. So the film begins in Switzerland, where the brilliant but kinda insane Dr. Herbert West, who's played by Jeffrey Combs, in an amazing performance. Like, this is probably one of my favourite performances from him. I did like him in Would You Rather, I think is the name of the movie. I might review that at some point. But yeah, he's conducting experiments at the University of Zurich, I believe. I can't specifically remember. She was like a little sign at the front. But yeah, so he attempts to revive his professor, who has recently died, but the experiment goes AWire when he just comes back to life and starts moving around weirdly before dying. And yeah, he is then accused of murdering him, but I guess it was all good because suddenly he is in America and well, he's gonna continue his study there. He rents a room with his fellow student Dan, he's dating Megan, who is the daughter of the university's dean. So he's got full tuition for the rest of his days there. He doesn't have to pay with money at least. But yeah, so West immediately clashes with the doctor there, Dr. Hill. He is a faculty member whose research was deemed outdated and plagiarized by West. He just overall thinks he's a twat, which, I can agree with. I don't like him. But yeah, so West becomes obsessed with perfecting this, reagent, which is this phosphorus green serum. It reminds me of, the Substance. I'm sure that was somehow inspired by Reanimator, because of course. But, looks a lot like the Substance, that's what I can compare it to. And it can bring the dead back to life. Dan, who is, he's unaware of West's experiments up until he goes downstairs looking for his cat and he finds his dead cat in the fridge. And then the dead cat is suddenly alive and the dead cat dies again. Then they bring it back to life on a table while it's in bloody pieces. But yeah, so it's feral and violent now, so they have to kill it. Again. So yeah, Dan then becomes fascinated by the implications of the reagents. So, they're cool, so they're just yeah, let's go to the morgue and smuggle some corpses to conduct more experiments on. So they sneak into the morgue to test the reagent on a, dead body. The experiment is initially a success, but when it turns violent, it attacks both Dan and West. It draws the attention of, our doctor here. He arrives at the scene and is brutally killed by the corpse before it's subdued. And so they're desperate to save him. Plus, they need some fresh tissue, which will probably be better for this. So they use the reagent on him. And yeah, he comes back to life. But yeah, Dr. Hill then discovers his experiments and he's kind of interested. So they do the things. But yeah, then he kidnaps Megan and he brings her to his lab where he plans to use her in an experiment. So Dan and West, they come up with a little rescue mission. So they go to the morgue and he's reanimated several corpses. He's pretty much got his own little bodyguard system here of grotesque zombie dudes. So chaos ensues as, the corpses start to attack Dan and my boy Herbert over here. During the battle, West overloads his, zombies with, a load of reagent. And it causes it to just mutate and attack its fellow corpses. The morgue is then consumed by a load of chaos. Each of the bodies just turn on each other, and it's just all over the place. Dan rescues Megan, but she's close to death. So he carries her to the hospital where he attempts to save her life, and he injects her with the reagent. And yeah, that's where the movie ends, but it kind of leaves it ambiguous because that there is a sequel. I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, so this movie definitely thrives on just how stupidly fun it is. Like, it's got a great mix of horror and comedy and just a load of good gore. Like, this movie shines with the gore and everything. Like, the direction was really cool. It definitely embraced the absurdity of the premise while maintaining a good amount of tension that will keep you on edge. The film's pacing is pretty good, besides from a few scenes which were a bit too long for my like. It's fine though. And Jeffrey Combs delivers a great performance as Herbert West. He perfectly embodies the character's just cold attachment to just anything, while at the same time just being absolutely mental. And yeah, he's obsessed, he's smart, he's charismatic, he's Herbert West. He's really just single-mindedly in pursuit of whatever his experiment could do. And that's really all you need to know about the guy. And yeah, he's just a great like main character. He's sort of like in between a villain and a hero. He's sort of like an anti-hero. And yeah, Dan is also another great character in the movie. He's pretty cool. He sort of grounds the story because he's more normal than my boy Herbert, but like, that they're both doing this, so like, they're sort of as bad as each other. But yeah, the effects of the movie are a standout. It's got some great creative and visceral gore. It's really just got some like great effects, especially with like, the zombies and everything. I gotta say the cat didn't look very real, but it's a bloody cat being brought back to life in like an 80s movie, so I think the script is pretty good as well, and I also love the score at the beginning. I know that it's pretty much just a Psycho score, but like, I don't care. It's bloody awesome. It's more like upbeat than the OG Psycho score. And it's also just got some really cool visuals in there as well, specifically in like the intro and along with some other parts in the movie as well. And I do think that the film just definitely like is able to use this ridiculous premise to a T. It's great. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you guys think about Reanimator? Let me know in the comments below. If you have seen it though, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend watching the movie. It is a load of fun. But yeah, I mean, I give the movie like an 8 out of 10. It's a load of fun. It's a good little 80s like horror comedy, black dark comedy, very dark comedy, if you know what I mean. Like the humor in this movie isn't exactly like, haha, that's a joke. It's more like, oh, that just happened. So yeah, if you catch my drift. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.